Hi, welcome to part 2 of pencil tutorial. Okay, what we did last time is we created the body of the pencil, labeled it, and added one material to it. Think about it as when last time I forgot to tell you that we need to add a name for this material. Um, Let me bring this out a little bit so we can see. We're still in the material that we just gave for the pencil. And I need to label that. I need to call it something. Um, to keep it well organized, it's best to keep things labeled alphabetically. So anything to do with a pencil, I'm going to call it pencil slash something. So we're going to call this pencil body. You know, we'll also have a pencil wood or pencil sharpener, pencil eraser, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the first one here. We've got an extra outlet, an extra plug here that we don't really want. So I'm just going to hit select it and hit the minus key, and that'll delete that. So now we're just left with one pencil body socket. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit, or maybe not, maybe zoom in a little. Okay, now we're going to create a sharpener object that's actually going to, we're going to run a boolean operation on this mesh with the second mesh. And what that'll do is in the places where that second mesh intersects the first mesh, it'll remove the extra polygons and create some new ones. So you'll see exactly what I mean in just a second. All right, first thing we need to do is create the new mesh, which is a cone. We're going to cut the bottom out of the cone first, which is really easy. Shift A. Okay, we got mesh, and we're going to create a cone, and it's huge. We can change um, the parameters of this just like with the pencil. We can bring down the radius in both directions. Let's say that's 0, and bring down the depth too. Sometimes it's easier just to scale it. Actually, we might want to scale that back up a little bit. Let's see. What do we got going here? There we go. Depth is actually how high the cone taper goes. Okay, so I'm just working on this a little bit now. That'll give us a nice sharp cone. Obviously, we need to scale it down quite a bit because it's gigantic. So I'm going to hit S and scale that down. Hopefully not too much. As you can see, the closer we get to it, the easier it is to get into negative numbers. So I'll just keep scaling it down until it's right about where we need to be. All right, I'm going to move that roughly into position here. I think that's a little bit short, so I'm going to scale it up a little bit. We want to scale it and constrain it only along the z-axis, which is straight up and down. So what we do is we hit S and then Z and just drag up. So we get a nice tall taper. All right, that's good. So this is like a pencil sharpener. Imagine you're sticking the pencil into it and it actually sharpens it. So what we need to do first is, let's go over to this view. I'm going to do Control-Alt-Q to give us a full view through the perspective window. Okay, this is what I was talking about before for clipping. We've got the clipping set too low. So we need to set the clipping down a little bit so we can get closer to this object. All right, so we need to hit N on our numpad on the keyboard. And we're going to look for, let's see, display. It's all about clipping. Here it is. Okay, it's under view actually. So we got the clipping. Start is at 3.9 inches, and we're actually closer than that. So it's I'm going to click this button here. That'll set it to absolute lowest, which is in the 39 thousandths of an inch or so. And the top clipping is for large, if you have really large scenes. So it'll clip if the camera gets too far away from something. It'll clip it out of view. All right, so I'm going to orbit around a little bit here so we can take a look at the bottom. See if we can get a little closer. All right, so we need to get into the edit mode and select this face and remove it here. So we hit Tab with the cone selected, and that'll put us in edit mode. I don't really see where the face is yet. I can see all the others, can't see the one on the bottom. So we actually need to put this selector onto face. You can see the little cube here. I'm going to hit A to deselect. If I push Z, that'll give me a wireframe view, so it's much easier to see what's going on. You can tell what the what the faces are with this little dot that's right in the middle of them. I'm going to right-click on that. That'll select that one face, and we're going to hit delete, get rid of that guy. So we'll select faces, and that'll get rid of that. You can tell when we get back into regular shaded mode by pressing Z again. So now we can see all the way up that that cone. My cat is keeping me company here. She's interested in what we're doing, and so should you be. All right, so we're going to hit tab again to put us back into object mode. We need to give this guy a material also. So quickly, we'll just come over to the materials. We'll hit the white plus. That'll give us a new socket, and we'll hit the new button here. All right, first thing is we're going to name it. This will be called pencil sharpen or sharpener. That's what I'll do. I'll do pencil sharpener. Come down to diffuse, which is the basic color for all materials, like the base color. All right, we're going to give this sort of a woody, brownish, tan hue to it, and we can always change it later, which is really nice. Crank the intensity up to 1, which is 100%. All right, looks good. Okay, so we're going to move this thing into position here. I'm going to move it down along the z-axis. I'm going to put it back into wireframe mode, and we need to get back into quad view also. Control-Alt-Q, back into quad view. All right. Now, so what we want to do is we want to give this thing a nice taper at the very top. That's going to end, so it's going to leave us a very sharp point. You should keep it inside though, so the pencil mesh is just before you get to the tip of the pencil sharpener here. If it's too far down, it's going to leave a little bit at the top, which we don't want. So we're going to overlap it just a little bit like that. Okay, looks good. So I'm going to hit Z so we can get our shaded view again. A couple more things I want to do before we get this boolean going. Let's select, we're in object mode, so we're going to right click and select the mesh again, the pencil body mesh. And I want to subdivide that a couple of times, because once you start doing boolean and doing drilling and carving away big hunks of it, it can run into errors and slow things way down unless you subdivide your mesh a little bit more. So right now the faces are pretty big on this, but if we can make them smaller, then we'll have a better time of it. All right, so that's actually pretty easy. We need to get back into edit mode here. I'm pressing tab, and we're going to scroll down through the toolbox, and we're going to hit the subdivide button. I'm going to do that a couple of times. All right, so now you can see there's a lot more faces in the pencil mesh. We'll take a look. You can see that there's more to work with here. Okay. Also in the pencil mesh, we have to get it ready to receive the material that's in the sharpener, because if you don't, then it's going to just, you'll have the taper there, but it'll still be the same color as the pencil. If you look at a pencil, the taper is actually wood color instead of that orange. So we need to get it ready to receive that new color. All right, so we're over in materials still, and we've got one here. We've got one plug already that has the material called pencil body in it. We need to add one more plug, one more outlet, so we can plug some more data into it. So we've got a new data block here, and we'll hit. We're going to use one that was already used by the pencil sharpener, so we don't have to create a brand new one. So I'll come over here, and we'll select pencil sharpener. All right, so now we've got pencil sharpener attached to the pencil object, the pencil body, which is an object, but not to the vertices yet. Anyway, you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. All right, so I'm going to make sure this thing is lined up best as possible. I want it to be right in the middle here. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, let's go to it. We're going to go ahead and do our boolean function. We need to select the pencil body. We'll get into object mode first, pencil body selected, and we're going to hit a modifier button up here. We've got this long list of buttons here. We're going to hit this little guy that looks like a wrench. We're going to do add modifier and select boolean. Okay. Now, first thing first, you turn off the real-time viewer. You do that, that'll save computational power that we need for actually doing the application. Instead of, we don't really need to see it that bad. That's for other things that are more intensive. Okay, the operation we want to do is intersect. We've got a few things that we can choose from. Differences where you want to cut a hole in something. Unions if you want to add something, but eliminate the polygons in the middle. Intersect is what we need. What that'll do is that'll get rid of everything on the outside, leave everything on the bottom, on the inside. Okay, so now we need to go over to the object and select the object that we want. I'm going to select cone. Really, we should have named that. We should have named it sharpener. So we're going to go back and do that in a minute anyway. Once we hit apply, that'll commit us, and you can see that it's already changed some. I'm going to click the sharpener object here, move that out of the way, and you can see that we've got a nice taper on that. See, it gave us those nice curves that you normally see in a pencil that we all know and love. All right, looks fantastic. We'll move on to another segment in just a second, and I will see you in a minute.